Welcome to the One Gang Worldwide podcast, your ultimate ride into the world of motorcycles. Visit cyclesworldwide.com where we offer a completely free marketplace for everything motorcycles. Join our One Gang community where you can connect, share info, and swap stories with riders from all over the world. Join for free at cyclesworldwide.com and be a part of the One Gang community right now.
Today we're headed to the track with one of the UK's most exciting young racers, Ryan Frost. Ryan's tearing up the tarmac in the British Talent Cup, showing speed, determination, and maturity beyond his years. We talk about what it's like to compete at the national level, his training regimen, future goals, and the pressure of racing under the spotlight at such a young age.
So, for everything else leading up to it, perfectly fine. As soon as the lights go out, perfectly fine. But when you're sat there, no one else but riders on the grid, that visor's down, and you're just looking at them lights, you open the throttle and pray. You don't have fear. I think it's just more of, we've got to do this now. This is the time.
All right, One Gang, welcome to the show. Today we've got a great one. We got Ryan the Rhino Frost, an insanely talented racer. It's not even May's not even over, and he's already got what five wins, 8 podiums this year alone. He's a British Talent Cup rider with MLAV Racing Team, 2025 British Talent Cup rider, 8-time British mini bike champion, 2020 British Norasport Supermoto champion, 3rd in the 2024 British Talent Cup. There are about 20 other bullet items I could list. And how old are you, Ryan?
Yeah, I've just turned 16 in December.
Gosh. Welcome to the show, man. We're excited to have you. This is going to be a great one.
Thank you very much for having me.
Ryan, thanks, man. We could, a kid 16 years old has got more accomplishments than half the people out there. So that's awesome, buddy. As we start every show, of course, let's take you back. Where did you grow up? Were your family kind of involved in that racing world as a young kid?
So yeah, pretty much everyone in my family has raced or either rode a motorbike. So I got it from my dad and my brothers, really. So from a really young age, as soon as I was born, around the paddocks with my brothers, my dad, everyone racing. And then at the age of 2, I got my first ever motorbike. So from there, started riding, getting more into it. And then from the age of 4, done my first ever race, what I managed to win. So on my 4th birthday, done my first ever race. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been around ever since I was a baby, really. So I didn't have much choice of doing anything else.
Wow, that's crazy. So what type of bike at 4 years old did you jump on? Was it a little 50?
Yeah, so it was a little mini moto. So yeah, from then we had a couple of them. So we'd have a dry bike and a wet bike. So we'd always switch around, especially with the English weather. It likes to change a lot. So yeah, so just a little mini moto.
How old are your brothers as far as age difference?
So my eldest brother is turning 30 this year. So obviously a lot older when I was born. So having him around, and it made life a lot easier with motorbikes. And my other brother is 26.
And both guys racing, they're both racing sport bikes or dirt bikes?
So they're both sport bikes, 2 very talented riders, to be honest. They were really good, picking up multiple wins in the classic racing over here. And It was always one would win one and the other would win the other. So always a family feud over who's always the fastest. But
that's funny. And what about dad? Dad was a rider, but he's a wrencher too. Is your dad pretty mechanically inclined?
Like in between him racing, he'd obviously come and do it all for me. So over the years, my dad was my mechanic, and thanks to him, obviously we won all them championships. Without him, none of that would be possible. And then in the last few years, my mum's taken over, and we've sort of got into more in the bigger bike scene over here.
Man, so you were 2 on your on your first bike. A lot of folks don't remember much before they were like 5. Do you remember the first time you hopped on a bike? And if it wasn't when you were 2, what's like your first memory?
I remember when the first days that we got on the bike, it was this a little electric thing with stabilizers. So I was riding motorbikes before I could talk, really.
That's funny.
Gosh, man, core memory. That is wild.
That's funny. Shit. So listen, let me ask you this: when your family was riding and you guys, I mean, everybody obviously rides. Were you jumping on the back of Dad's and you guys were cruising around? Is that what the story was with the brothers, with the older brothers?
Yeah, exactly. So ever since a young age, like I was always going down the street with my dad on the front of his motorbike, or going around with my brothers, or we're a fast family. We like fast cars, we like fast bikes. Everything's got to be fast. So I remember now, like the fastest I've ever gone is 160. So every time I hop on anything else, or you know, it's not as fast for me, especially having my dad growing up. He's absolute petrol head. So drifting cars and riding
Nice.
motorbikes fast, wheelies, and just everything.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. Hey, by the time most kids are kind of trying to figure out what sport they like, you're already chasing championships at this age. How did your childhood look different from your friends?
So even now, you have a lot of kids going out partying, drinking, doing all the bad stuff. And as a kid that races, a lot of us have it as well. You have diets, you have training 3, 4 times a week. You're
Yeah.
on a motorbike every week, so you don't have time to go out and not necessarily socialize. Just get yourself into them bad addictions and
Yeah.
take yourself out of the way and get into trouble. So yeah,
Yeah. Keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah, no question.
yeah.
That's cool. So you won 8 British mini bike championships and a Supermoto title. What was their journey like getting there? And what did it really take behind the scenes? Speaking of that commitment you were just talking about.
I think the thing is for me that how I won so many was I didn't mind winning. I just hated losing. I just absolutely.
Uh-huh.
But my reason would be second place. Like if I qualified second, don't talk to me. Just
Really?
don't talk to me.
Damn.
Yeah,
Man.
in the last few years, I can't. I'm fine now. Obviously, I still don't like it. No racer does, but yeah, when I was younger, I just did not like losing, so I had to win. Otherwise, I wouldn't be happy.
I
Yeah.
feel like there's going to be a movie about you and your family, man. This is wild.
Right.
What's up, One Gang? I used to think that if I spent big money on riding gear with a logo on the back, I was getting top quality. I gave Leather Up a shot. I wasn't sure at first, could I really get quality gear without spending a fortune? But after putting tens of thousands of miles on their jackets and vests, I had my answer. No busted zippers, no loose stitching, just solid, well-made gear that lasts. Leather Up carries trusted brands like Milwaukee Leather, Hot Leathers, and more, with gear for every rider and every budget. Plus, their customer service actually cares and picks up the phone, something rare these days. So do yourself a favor, check out leatherup.com. Whether you need jackets, vests, chaps, boots, helmets, or luggage, they've got you covered. And because you're part of the One Gang Worldwide family, use code CW20 at checkout for 20% off your entire order. Stop overpaying, gear up with Leather Up, and see the difference yourself.
Right. Hey, take us back a little bit into kind of a little bit piggybacking off of Ben's question to the 8 British mini bike championships. All right. You started out in the dirt bike world first. Take us a little bit into that transition when you got into that and the type of training you had to constantly do. Take us a little bit into that younger part of your life.
So I only really stayed off the track for about a year. So from the age of 2 till 3 to 4. So from that transition, that was when I didn't really ride tarmac a lot. It was more like your little PW50s and it's stuff like that. So, and then at the age of 4, we got the mini moto, and my dad had this massive workshop, and around it there was just this concrete circle that all of us, me, my brothers, and that we'd just do circles all day, just
Yeah.
learning everything. And I remember there's this one limo there was this limo park there because we all shared this, and every time, all throughout the years, me or my brothers would always hit this limo all the time. Every corner, we'd always smash into the side of this limo. But no, so we didn't. That was it basically. That's how I learnt from my dad, my brothers. Just learnt to get my knee down in circles and figure of eights, and just kind of took it over to the track one day. And since then, I enjoyed it too much and could never leave it.
Crazy. That's crazy. That's cool. So racing at a high level, obviously, I'm gonna go back to what you were talking about as far as the difference between the childhood of your friends to yourself. So give me kind of a detailed version of this because I think it's important for anybody listening to this. especially the younger generation, of what it really takes to get to that type of a championship level. We live in an instant gratification world where people think everything is right there and it's easy to get to. There's no hard work type of thing. All you need to do is get on the bike. So, take us into your strict routines, the constant training, what your daily or weekly training regime looks like, and take us a little bit into that. Like,
I think as a kid nowadays, it's easy to feel left out when all your friends are going out and doing all the kid stuff. And obviously, as an athlete, basically, it's hard to keep your head out of that as a kid. But the way that we do it, and the athletes now, like I train 4 times a week, so I'm either running, cycling, weights, anything like that. Really, it's just I don't know. It's so easy to just feel left out now. That obviously when I was younger, I felt it a little bit more. But when you get to the age I am now and a little bit older, you realise that training every Tuesday and 2-3 times a week on a motorbike and in the gym, it all pays off when it needs to.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes you think, okay, I'm doing this for a reason, and yeah, this is why I do it.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Do you ever wish you had more downtime like other kids your age?
I don't know. When you're away from racing, you seem to not forget about racing, especially in the off season. It's like, oh, it's so nice to relax. But when that first round comes around and you get back on the bike for the first time, you're racing elbow to elbow. You know a reason why you've done it for so long.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's pressure in racing, obviously, expectations from sponsors, teams, fans, and even yourself. How do you manage your mindset when things don't go as planned on race day?
So it's hard to keep your composure, really. You don't like you got to not let them see you without a smile. So you kind of mask it up, and if you want to be angry or anything, you take yourself away and you try and get composure back, and you just try and just relax a little bit, because at the end of the day, yeah, you might not win, you might be last, but when you come away, you still enjoyed that weekend, and you will always remember that weekend for some reason. So
Great
yeah.
perspective, man. Great perspective. That's huge.
Hey, Ryan, asking this, you had mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that you really hate to lose. If you don't finish first, you're really down on yourself. Okay. Take us a little bit and explain what goes through. I mean, here's the difference, right? When you are older and a little bit more experienced, you've dealt with all these highs and lows, so you kind of get yourself to be able to manage it. You're still obviously at a certain young age, at only 16, so you're just learning this on how to manage this. But take us into that part of you if you don't finish first, and what you do to kind of get yourself back down and grounded and understand it. And like, do you talk to somebody? Do you meet with somebody? Take us into that part of it. Everybody sees the winning. Nobody sees the hard stuff that you have to go through when you're not winning.
So luckily, I've got such a good team and family behind me that when we come away, we're just happy we finished. We didn't crash. We got them valuable points. But obviously, when you're young, you don't think like that. But now I've got to this age that, you know, fifth, it's not a good result. But at the end of the championship, when you need to win it, them points all add up. At the end of the day, just finishing, you get them points. Like, winning's great, but if you win and then crash 4 or 5 times, you're not going to win a championship. So I think the way I kind of relax is I have a wonderful girlfriend, family, so they just kind of calm me down. They take me away from it, show me the good reasons of where I finished. Obviously, everyone loves to win, but to get them points that you need, it all tallies up in the end. Like, look at Joe Amir in the 2020 MotoGP Championship. I don't know how many times he won. I know it wasn't a lot, but he was consistent all year around. So.
And that's kind of how you're starting to manage your mindset, as far as like, instead of being down on yourself, you're kind of trying to understand now more like, hey, as long as I qualify, I get strong, keep the points moving into each throughout the season. If I hit a couple of great winning spots, then everything will catch up. That's cool, man. What's one of the hardest moments you've had to deal with in racing so far?
I I don't know. Last year was a bit of a struggle. We had a few mechanical issues and sadly a DNF at Donington Park the last round. So without that, I think the championship would have been a lot closer. But I think coming into this year, it's kept my head high, knowing I've got a lot more hope. Because last year we was aiming for a podium, but to come away with 5 wins, 8 podiums, and a 1 lap record was we couldn't ask for more really, other than the championship. So obviously coming back into this year, got so much pressure on myself that I want to do better than what I did, but it's hard to do any better than that, basically. But I think over the years, the thing I struggled with the most, I had a really bad accident in Cartagena in Spain in 2022, and they thought I broke my back. Was rushed
Oh
to hospital.
shit! Sorry.
Jeez.
It was good, but now after that, like I have to go to a chiropractor every other week. So as a 16-year-old, that can't so basically my spine is like that at the bottom. So I have to get readjusted every other week, and that's not just a thing that will happen for a couple of years. That accident has now changed my life forever. That will. So I
Do
think
you
maybe that has.
Do you
Yeah.
remember what happened?
Yeah. So I was just so you have this one corner where you come over the crest and you go down the hill into quite a long left-hander. I was coming down there. Had a great day. Was just testing out. Was just testing the biking because we just done a few settings changed because it was the end of the day. Last session, just took it easy because I think we was fastest the whole Friday practice. So just taking it easy. Just finished the last session. Was up by a lot. So came down the hill. Because the Kawasaki 400s have a slipper clutch.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gone down the gears. The bike just kind of goes sideways by itself. But at this track, a lot of riders know it's quite a dusty track. So I've kind of gone a little bit offline and it's gone sideways and it's not stopped until it got to a point and it's just gripped. So I've just come off the side. I don't know how fast, probably 80, 90 mile per hour, maybe 100. Come off the side, landed with my neck first and kind of rolled onto my back. So kind of just slammed the bottom of my back. And I couldn't stand up at first, just making sure that I could feel everything. Everything felt good, but you knew something wasn't right. So we got rushed to the hospital in the ambulance. I think we had scans. Nothing was broken, luckily. And then they said, "Do you want to stay in there overnight?" So my dad was like, "Great, somewhere to sleep. It'll be okay. We'll just come out in the morning." But I don't like hospitals. I've been in them too much, so I was straight out, straight in the van, throwing up everywhere because I just come off the antibiotics, everything. Straight back to the racetrack. Slept in the van overnight. Fixed the bike the next day, and then went home. And then after that, I think I was on a bike 2 weeks later.
Wow.
So I didn't really want to. I'm back on the same bike 2 weeks later. It's better to just get on with it, get over that fear of. And
Yeah.
then the next time we went back to that track, I went faster. So I don't think it really bothered me that much. But, that accident it's just going to be there my whole life. So it's constantly chiropractors and just getting readjusted now. But this is part and parcel of racing. At the end of the day, we've got to expect them risks. Like every racer's broke a lot of bones, but this is just what you got to do to pass.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
I think silver lining is that you kind of got it out of the way. You don't have to ask yourself that question, how will I respond when I have a pretty bad crash? You know how you'll respond now. And a lot of kids, like we've had a couple of young racers on the show, and a couple of them had some decent wrecks, nothing quite as severe as yours. But there's that fearless element when you're younger. You've got that feeling like you're invincible. And it just takes that mountain to bite you once, and you're kind of
no
off your
question.
kilter or lose your flow. So that's kind of a silver lining. You can be grateful in that regard that that you can bounce back and be resilient. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, I was one of the
So
luckiest to walk without anything really. So
Did
Gotcha.
you have a little bit of hesitation getting back on the bike 2 weeks after, or no?
no, not really. I think with the amount of accidents I've had over the years, and you kind of just, as a racer, you just have to go up and get over it. At the end of the day, in order for you to go fast again, you have to forget about it. You can't
Right.
sit there and think about it too much. But I think seeing the accident really didn't really do anything to me. Touch wood. It didn't really give me much fear getting back on the bike.
Nice.
Understand.
So strictly physical.
Thank God.
That's incredible, man.
Thank God, man.
All right, so you placed third in the 2024 British Talent Cup and had the most wins of the season. What did that success mean to you, especially after everything you've put into the sport?
To be fair, we didn't expect it. So we went to Navarra the first round last year, and we had that podium. And then after that, I was a little bit hungry for more and more and more. But as a rider, to see the effort paying off, you can't beat it. And obviously, my mum funds everything for my racing. So to see her happy after every time, and just to see her happy after I finish, it's so nice.
That's great.
Yeah,
man.
that's amazing. That's amazing. When you're on the grid waiting for the lights to go out, what's going through your head?
That is the worst feeling ever.
Why?
Sitting on the grid.
Hey, for guys who don't race, take us into that.
So for everything else, leading up to it, perfectly fine. As soon as the lights go out, perfectly fine. But when you're sat there, no one else but riders on the grid, that visor's down, and you're just looking at them lights, you open the throttle and pray. You don't have fear. I think it's just more of, we've got to do this now. This is the time. Everything you've done, you've got to do it now. So, and then as soon as the lights go out, you just forget it all. You have no more nerves until maybe that last lap where you're like, oh, this is going to be close, is it not? So, but no, I think as a non-racer, you don't really get that feeling, and you don't know what the riders are going through, especially before that race.
At what RPMs are you shifting into second gear?
I don't know. I just open the throttle, release the clutch, and pray.
And just go, man. Just go. Just launch. That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the hardest thing? Is it really the launch out of the gate? I've always been curious. Is it that first turn when everybody kind of starts to separate themselves from each other?
Yeah, as soon as the lights go out and you go around the first corner, you're perfectly fine. It's just literally that little bit there where you're like, oh God, this it's not nice, and you start debating, and then as soon as you do that, you're perfectly fine.
That's cool, man. Thanks for taking us into that.
That's right.
Yeah. So you've got teammates and rivals, but this sport can be isolating too. Who's your support system when things get tough? Family members, I'm sure. You got any teammates or anybody else that might be a surprise?
I think anyone around me. I've got such great people around me, family, the team, anything that I want to talk about, the team or my family will talk about. There's nothing that we're such a close family and team that we're all family basically.
Right.
So like my crew chief, Dicko, and Trick, they're my main two people. If I've got a problem or I'm happy, they're the first two people. They're like the heart and soul of when you go to a track.
Nice, man.
Nice.
That's cool.
Who do you turn to when you need to calm down? Like when you're kind of amped up and you need to calm down. Who's your force that you can, your reasoning voice?
It sounds pathetic, but probably my girlfriend.
Okay.
To be honest, she's seen me the highest I've been and the lowest I've been at the end of the day. So I think she understands it so much, or probably my mum or my brothers. So my eldest brother takes me to all the tracks. So probably him or my girlfriend, to be fair. They're
nice.
both two great people to turn to.
All right, that's cool. Good to have a good young woman in your corner. All right, good job, buddy, with that one. All right, hey, let's talk a little bit about MLAV Racing. What has been being part of this team taught you about professionalism and pushing your limits?
To be fair, to be a part of this team, I'm just so grateful for. Like, this is a moment that no rider would forget ever. To say that you've raced for MLAV and for Fibertech, it's such a great honour, and for them to be by my side as much as they are, it's great. But on the professional side, when you go to MotoGP, you're with all the Moto3 riders. They take you a tour around. It's nice to have. They show you the way of how these racers have got there. At the end of the day, like, we come in, we look through the data. Like, there's not one moment that this team doesn't feel like it's not professional. From the minute you get there, from the minute you leave, it feels great.
We had a data engineer on a show, and he's with Moto2. And are you very involved with the engineers also?
Yeah, 100%. So for racing for so many years, like it's so easy to notice little things on the bikes that people that haven't been riding for long won't notice. So like it's easy to come in and I'll tell them the problem and you go through it and it is that problem, and it's just nice to have that little bit of, okay, I'm right. So when something else goes wrong, then I kind of say, if we come into the pits and we don't have time to look at the data, we know that that change is going to be successful.
Gotcha.
So you've clearly made sacrifices for this pursuit, social life, school events, I'm sure, downtime, lack thereof, to chase your dream. I'm sure that when you're standing on podium, you know, it's easy if you look at the big picture to say, is it all worth it? Of course it is. But do you have any moments where day-to-day life you kind of question yourself and you're like, man, is this worth it? Do I want to keep doing this? Or are you just always, 100 miles an hour?
I think 100%. You start to think when you see all your mates that you used to be with, being kids, like you start to struggle a little bit. But when you get to the weekend and you start to hang around with the mates that you race with and everyone at the paddock, you start to realise that you've got friends elsewhere. Instead of seeing them at school in the weekday, you see your mates on the race weekend instead. So you kind of, especially when you're on the podium, you realise that all this hard work has 100% paid off.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I don't know if your friends have communicated it or not, but it's like that grass is always greener kind of concept. I could almost guarantee you that you are the coolest friend that they have.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
So yeah.
That's funny, man. That's funny. So you're no longer in school, right? I mean, you've basically left school in order to pursue a professional career.
Yeah, so I dropped out of school in year 7 or grade 7.
that
So I was
early.
there through my younger years, but I was always at school, was never a bad student. I was never misbehaving. And then was the same when I moved up to secondary school, didn't really misbehave, was never excluded or anything like that. But when we wanted the time off, because I was half racing in Spain, I just couldn't get that time off school. So we decided to say, why don't we just homeschool? And then since then, I've been doing it how many years now?
Right,
And it seemed to work. I don't think I'm that stupid. I'm not too sure, but
I don't think you're stupid at all. Yeah, I mean,
you might have a little bit of crazy, and that's okay.
Yeah, crazy's good. You have to be crazy to be a professional racer. I mean, you're still young and you've packed more experience than most people twice your age. Let's get into what has racing taught you about life in general. I know you're only 16 years in and you've been racing for probably 90% of that 16 years of your life. But as far as what you've seen between interaction with older people on your team, older people like your brothers and your dad and mom and everybody around you, the good people that you have around you, what has that taught you about life in general?
To be fair, I was on about this with one of the TV presenters at Donington Park last weekend, and he was saying like us 16-year-olds now are so different to the outside 16-year-olds away from the race paddock. The kids now in race paddock, you're around older people all the time. Like when I was younger, all my mates would be double my age, so you just kind of you learn to see that the people away from racing are so immature compared to you and the people at racing. Like I think now kids our age around the paddock are so mature and got such a good head on their shoulders compared to the outside kids, that we live a very different life. Like we don't mind eating healthy, we don't mind working out so much because we're that mature that we see it will work out. I think if you had a kid that doesn't race and doesn't really care about it and you had told them to eat healthy and train 4 or 5 times a week, I don't think they'd do it for very long. But as a racer, we have to do this week in, week out, day after day. There's no off season. You just do it all year. You don't have a break.
So you're thinking basically, you're saying basically when you have a positive routine or structure on a day-to-day basis, obviously that helps more than some goofball that's 16 that's playing video games all day and and really not. I get exactly what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. That was a great answer. Thanks for saying that.
All right, let's talk about mental and physical preparation. What are your goals for this upcoming British Talent Cup season, and are you doing anything differently? It seems like what you've got, it's that old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But are
Yes.
you stepping up intensity, or what do you got going on?
I think this year I'm physically and mentally fit for this year, a lot more. So I noticed it a lot
Okay.
more on the bike. But coming into this now, I have nothing to lose, only to gain. That's my way of looking at it.
Nice, that's
We
healthy.
want to win this year, and that is the only goal we want to have. We don't want second, third. We want to come into this. We don't want too much aggression because that's when it doesn't work.
Right.
We want that little fire that's going to help us on track and just yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of funny to think about too. Speaking with older racers, and by older I mean even in their 20s, typically you're grown, you might get stronger just through work in the gym, but you're at an age where you're still growing. So have you, I mean, you mentioned, you touched on it quickly, you're in great shape. Have you noticed, massive gains between 14 and 15 and 15 and 16?
To be fair, I don't think I've grown much since I was about 7 years old. So I'm still only about
Okay.
5, 6. So I've not really grown much. But I think this year we've put on maybe not even a kg, but that's not through eating. That's just through pure training and muscle and just kind of putting on the right stuff and getting rid of that extra fuel that we don't need. So it kind of equals it all out. So
That makes
Gotcha.
sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. All right, so tell us a little bit about the nickname Rhino. What's the story behind it?
there's not really much of a story. So my friend Eddie, who's racing in the MLAV Moto 3 team, I remember we used to race a lot when we was younger. We used to race together a lot, and there was his dad. There used to be this thing. There was a Foster's advert, the beer, and you used to call in with your name, and they'd answer. And then someone
Yeah.
called Ryan rang in, and they said, "G'day, Rhino." And then obviously Eddie's dad heard that, and then since then, I've just been called Ryan the Rhino. We've not really. It's not like
Ryan the Rhino.
I'm
That's
called the
good.
Rhino. Hard people out of the way. It's just the Rhino because of a beer advert. It's quite a
That's
funny story,
funny.
really.
That's
funny.
great, man.
That's-
That's great. Hey,
No.
what are you focusing on to improve your performance on the track this year?
Well, I don't really know. Really, it's more we've tried a few different things in the off season on the bikes and that, getting more bike control with the Supermotos and the 600s, learning to tuck that front end and saving it. And then off the track, a lot more cardio, trying to not cut down the weights, but get that fitness in as much as we can. But yeah, basically we've tried a few different things compared to the year before. And I think it's kind of paid off. Like the pace this year in the racing, we've gone over nearly 1.2 seconds faster in the lap times than we did last year, and 14 seconds faster overall in the race than we did last year as well.
Wow.
So the pace this year is incredibly fast. I think my qualifying time last year, where I qualified pole at Donington Park, that would have put me, I think, about 12th, 13th this year. And that was first place last year. So the times and everyone's gone incredibly fast, and I think that will just keep happening. So
Yeah.
Nice. You had Donington this past weekend, correct?
yeah.
Can you take us into the races that you did? What happened, transpired, things of that nature? Take us into the weekend.
So we had a good Friday. I think we was 4th and 5th in the first and second practice, so not too bad. And then in the qualifying, qualified second by about 0.4, 0.3, I think, so not much in it. And then Saturday, noticed in the races, although I finished third, we had a little bit of the power wasn't there. We're 2 mile per hour down in the slipstream. So and on Sunday it was even worse. So on Sunday I think we finished 5th, but I couldn't physically get any more out of that bike than what I done. We just seemed to have that little bit of a mechanical issue that
Can
stopped
you
me
explain
from
that?
getting.
Can you explain what you're talking about to somebody who may not know when you're talking about that
So
power that loss?
So you noticed. So normally last year I was really good down straight. great power, great weight, and everything. And coming into this year, in the off season, the power was great with the older engine. So we decided to put a newer engine in for this weekend, and I don't think it worked in our favour really. It kind of backfired a little bit, and you could see it even in the videos and on the live that down straight I just couldn't stay behind someone. Normally on these bikes they're so close, you get in that little bit of toe on that slipstream, and you can overtake. In that slipstream and just couldn't get any more out of it. So I took the bike away. Hopefully we've got it sorted for this weekend, but if not, I'm sure we'll figure something else out.
Interesting. So we usually have this question in the speed round, but it's worded a little bit differently, and I'm really curious. I wanted to get your take. Being your age, not doing, just focus solely on racing. If you were to do something else right now, or have another passion that you were pursuing, what do you think that it would be?
I don't know, to be honest. I have a drift car. So I have an E46 BMW drift car. So I got that when I was age 12, just to see if I'd enjoy something else. Like, it's not bad to try other sports when you're so young. Like, you have a lot of people now that still quit racing till this day and find something else that they love more. So we tried the drifting, and I got on that very well. Did enjoy it a lot. So I think I'd probably do that if it wasn't for motorbikes, or maybe go-karting. I do enjoy that as well. Just speed. I like speed.
That's cool.
Very cool. Right on. Yeah, evidently your family does too. All right, so here's a fun one. If there's a young kid out there dreaming of racing like you are now, what would you honestly tell them it takes? So non-sugarcoat, just real advice. So what would it take for them to pursue what you're doing, and not just about the, pursuing the wins, but going into passion and drive and commitment?
Well, I don't really know. I think when you're a kid, you start to see your friends doing a lot more, like we were saying earlier, and you get taken down that path of, oh, well, my friends are doing this, so why can't I do that as well? But because I'm racing. So I think as a kid, you kind of just need to keep that focus that little bit more and that passion. And when you get to the age we are now, or a little bit older, then you start to realize, like what we said earlier, you realize that everything pays off when you stay addicted to it. Basically, it is an addiction. You can't just leave it. You can't have a dabble in this. You have to just do it full time. So you got to put in that effort. When you're young, I wouldn't say like do physical stuff more. I'd say when you get to the age of 11, probably start to do the more getting into your fitness, because obviously when you're young, it kind of worsens it. But just try and stay on that bike as much as you can when you're younger. So like when I was younger, I was on the bike 2-3 times a week, just on that bike, and just always trying something different. Never stick to the same thing. That's the thing with racing. Even the racers now, we'll go out, we'll try a different line, we'll try a different setting. Just never stick to that one thing. If it's working, great, but still try something else, because you might find it's faster. It could be slower, but it's not bad to try different stuff when you're young on a motorbike.
Understand. Hey, Ryan, let me ask you this. When you are on, are you racing like any specific size? Well, what is the size motorcycle that you're currently racing?
So it's a 250 4-stroke engine.
250 4-stroke engine. Okay. Are you allowed now to drive a motorcycle on the streets in the UK or no?
Yeah, so I now have a 50cc motorcycle. That's the biggest you're allowed at 16.
I know that's crazy because of the age, right?
It's supposed to top out at 28 mile per hour, but it definitely does. So it tops out at 28. But no, it's horrible coming away from a race weekend doing 120, 30 mile per hour and going from a 50cc on a weekday. As a racer, it's not nice. As a normal, just got their license, it'd be the best thing. But as a racer, it's
of course
not great.
I figured they would change the rules, at least for the guys who race, to say, hey man, you can skip this and this and this and go straight to this. But I guess that's why you get in your BMW and go drifting.
Yeah, it was the complete opposite. I remember my parents, because luckily my parents paid for my insurance on the motorbike. So my mum rang up the company and they said, look, how much is it and all this? And then she accidentally said that I race motorbikes. But because I race motorbikes, they wouldn't give me my insurance.
Right.
because they thought I was going to be a right idiot on the bike, basically. So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah. Jeez, that's
Next
silly,
time we
man.
asked someone else, yeah, we couldn't mention it.
Hey, where can people find you? Where can people follow you? How can they get a hold of you? How can they follow your journey? Where are you active?
So I have LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and it's all the same. So my Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook is all Ryan_Frost24.
Mhm.
And then my is just Ryan Frost.
Hey guys, the show will be back in 1 minute right after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, One Gang, tired of feeling like your butt's taking more of a beating than your bike on those long rides? Introducing Butt Buffer, the ultimate solution to saddle soreness. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. These cushions are made from medical grade viscoelastic polymer, scientifically crafted to eliminate pressure points and keep your circulation flowing. No more numb nuts or numb butts. And here's the best part. Butt Buffer cushions are made right here in the US for the last 30 years. From Harleys to Hondas, we've got a cushion to fit your ride perfectly. Plus, with styles ranging from sleek pebble polymer to luxurious sheepskin, there's a butt buffer for every rider's style. Get your butt buffer today at buttbuffer.com. That's buttbuffer.com. Your butt will thank you, and you'll ride longer and happier. We've got your butt covered. Okay. What do you got going on that you can tell people listening as far as what's upcoming, what's on the schedule? What do you got going on that so we can look forward to checking it out?
I don't think much really. Obviously, we've got a big weekend this weekend next to the Grand Prix. But I'd just say stay tuned. We've got some good things coming on social media. And I think just throughout this whole season, it should be great.
All right, awesome, man. Awesome. All right, my man. You made it through the questions. You ready for some speed round fun?
That's fine.
All right, let's do it, man. We're gonna put two minutes on the clock, and here's the deal. If you don't make the 2 minutes, you send us a signed picture of yourself to Ben and Serge so we can hang it in our office here, okay?
I'll do it without the 2 minutes. That doesn't bother me.
All right, awesome.
Yes.
It'd be awesome just to have that. So you got two.
We knew him win.
All right, we knew him when. That's right. Before he broke all of Rossi's records. Okay. All right. All right, let's do it. Dream bike to race.
Ducati MotoGP bike.
Okay, nice. That was easy.
That was easy, yeah.
All right.
No hesitation.
What's the story behind 24?
My dad used to get it a lot, and it just carried on from then. Same as my brother.
Oh, okay, cool. Tarmac or dirt? What gives you the biggest thrill?
Tarmac.
What's your guilty pleasure snack after race weekend?
If I have a good weekend, a Chinese.
All right, cool. Anything particular with the Chinese food?
Anything really. I don't care. I love food.
All right.
Nice.
Good.
Spoken like a true 16-year-old.
That's right. That's right. Do you have a race day superstition? Lucky socks, no talking, anything like that?
Yeah. Always left boot, left glove, left earplug first.
Okay.
Okay.
That's cool. All right. Music in the paddock. Who are you listening to before the race?
I don't know. I listen to a lot of things, probably Drake or something like that.
Okay. All right. Cool. What's your favorite sport to watch or play outside of motorsports?
Drifting.
Drifting. Okay.
Wait. Let's get one besides drifting. Outside of motorsports, period, auto, cars included.
I've never done anything. I've never done football.
Hey, do you have a thing? Do you have a favorite thing you do to wind down and relax?
Yeah, I go fishing a lot. So ever since I was young, I went fishing with my
Nice.
dad and my granddad. So I'll do that. So like next week, when we got a bit of time off, I'll go fishing then.
All right.
Twice a week probably. So I'll go fishing
Heck
with
yeah.
my mate, and you kind of forget about everything. You just enjoy time away from racing.
Right. it's
Yeah, what
peak-
do you typically fish? Lakes or rivers, streams? What are you in normally?
Anything, I just enjoy it. I just do casting. I
Cool.
never catch it. It's just
Just a
casting.
line in the water. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool. One rider you'd love to go and grab dinner with.
Top rack.
Okay.
Cool.
harder to deal with, crashing out or losing by 10th of a second?
Probably 10th of a second.
Spoken from a true champion. Okay. If you could design your dream track, what's one feature it must have?
Or probably the jump at Cadwell Park.
Oh yeah, is it
Yeah.
pretty insane?
Yeah, it's such a good place.
That's cool. Okay. Best racetrack so far in your career that you love to race on?
Probably Donington Park or Alton Park. They're just two great tracks, two very different features, but they're both great in their own way.
What are the two different features?
So Alton Park, it's up, down, up, down. The surface isn't smooth, it's bumpy, you're on the limit, the bike's moving. See, Donington Park, it's so grippy that the bike's bouncing. And obviously you have one big feature, what is Craner Curves. That's a very fast corner and very scary if you crash. But I think they're just two very different tracks, but they both have their way of being great.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Hey, can I ask you a question? When you're coming into a corner at a high speed, are you using both brakes or you're using both brakes to come into the corner, correct?
Yeah. Both brakes.
Okay.
So last year I wasn't really up, but this year with the speed that we're having to carry now, and after training on the Supermoto all winter especially, you learn to just automatically touch that rear brake.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've always told people should always use both brakes when you stop, and it's just better to do it. All right.
Obviously, if it's fast,
Yeah, especially the speed you guys do. So, finish this sentence. When I'm on my bike, I'm
enjoying myself.
all right. Good on.
Nice.
Worst part of training: cardio, gym, getting up early. What's the worst part of training for you?
The cardio and getting up early. Both of them.
Has spoken like a true 16-year-old. All right, good. Describe the feeling of a podium finish in one word.
Excellent.
Cool.
Nice.
What's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you off the bike?
I don't know. I don't really do a lot off the bike.
No?
I don't know. No, I don't honestly know that. I do fishing a lot. I don't normally. I'm just a very quiet kid, to be honest.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, you did it, man. You finished, but 2 minutes and 1 second. So we do get that signed photo of you. So sorry, man. We tried to speed it up, but couldn't do it enough. But I think Ben's gonna ask you a couple of things here. He had some questions.
Yeah, Rhino. So forgive me, I don't know how it works over there. Do you have your license to ride on the street?
Yeah. So we have to do. You have a lot of licenses. So I think it's different in America. You just get your license and
You just get your license.
that's
Yeah.
it.
I wanted to
Over
ask
here-
you about that specifically because they have the CC classes or whatever.
Yeah.
So you've been riding for years and can ride anything, I'm sure, but you have to go through those sequential CCs by license, right?
When you're 16 years of age, you're stuck to a 50cc. No more than 3 horsepower. I think.
Picturing you on the road, man, that is hilarious. Picturing you
Yeah.
on the street on a 50cc and then like a quick cut. That would be a hilarious social media post, by the way. Like ring, and then a quick cut to you on the track just hauling. That's
Yeah, it's
hilarious, man.
not fun, but I like spending more time just like working on my bike. Right,
Yeah.
it never worked anyway, so I have to. But I do. I think I have to. I just enjoy bikes. So even if it's not working or it is, I enjoy it the same.
Does
And then-
your
Cool.
does your family you guys are only sport bikes? Do you have cruisers? Does your dad have a cruiser? Your brothers?
So my brother has just got rid of a Yamaha R6 and he has
Okay.
just got the 2015 Yamaha R1, but
Okay.
he's not very right in the head. So we just leave him to do that. He's the odd brother out. Me and my oldest brother, we're pretty normal, but my middle brother, he's in a world of his own. So
He's crazy.
he does that.
Fun crazy.
Yeah, he's a fun crazy.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But going back to the license, when you're 17, you're automatically allowed 125cc, what has to be 14 horsepower, but if you get the 2-stroke 125, obviously it's a lot faster. And then after that, I think when you're 18 or 19, you can do your other test to get a 300cc, and then after that, do another test to get a 600, and just you have to do 3-4 licenses before you can even get to a 600 or an R1 when you're 23, 24, I think.
Gosh.
Oh, so it's an age, right? By a certain age, you can go and apply for this license?
Yeah. So when I turn 17 at the end of the year, I'm allowed to do another test and get rid of the L plates we have to have.
Right.
And then I'm allowed to have someone on the back as well as having a 125cc.
Oh, gotcha.
Man, you know what? It would be good if the states had a similar thing, because you know what happens down here, Ryan, is these kids who have families with money, right? They get their license at a young age, and because the family can afford to buy them R1 or your CBR 1000 or whatever it is, a Ninja or a Hayabusa or something. They get these bikes, man, and then it's just it's too much. It's too much power for somebody who's never physically understands how to operate something that's that fast. So I think it would be great if the states had it for certain ages.
Yeah, I think over here it's great, but I think they should change your first bike's allowed to be a 125, because when you're 16 and you have 50cc and your maximum speed is supposed to be 28, it's not safe.
Yeah.
It's really, especially if a car's coming around the corner 60, 70 mile per hour and you're there doing per hour.
28, yeah, absolutely.
You should legally be allowed to do 60 mile per hour.
Right, at least the speed limit.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to keep kids safe, but the other side of that coin, obviously in America, we want freedom. We want to be able to make that choice and have it, rest on our responsibility, our family's decision, parents, whatever. But as a whole, it really does make sense to keep kids safe. As a 16, 17-year-old, you can't even vote yet, and you're going to get on a rocket ship and go off to Mars.
Common sense laws, man. Just common sense laws. That's all it is.
But for somebody like you who's been ripping bikes around the track since you were 2, it's kind of crazy. Like, they should have some kind of exceptions to the rule or something. That's funny.
Well, I remember on my bike test, like, I'm really good mates with a guy that done it for me. So you go around obviously in the car park doing your test, and everyone else had their mopeds and that, and he just gave me an SV650 to go around the car park on to make it harder for me. So, but I remember we went out for my test, and I just got my bike freshly rebuilt, and it was going perfectly fine. Went along, boom, blew up on my bike test on my birthday. I was like,
gosh.
And then he managed to get a rope out the back and tie it around me and towed me back to my house.
Wow.
It's like driving a car if someone was pushing on the other side of the steering wheel. That's literally what it felt like.
That's
so
crazy.
I managed to still pass. He still let me pass, so I got away with that. And then
I figured you do the test on the wheelie, man. I mean, shoot, compared to everybody else. So
I have tried, but this bike doesn't rock wheelie.
Hey, do you have a personal bike now that you what's your personal bike?
So I have a Rayu MRT Pro 50. It's basically a 77cc. But I've literally just bare framed it. I bought everything you can basically for a 50cc. So brand new kit, instant power. It's basically got everything. So now we've just stripped it to a frame. I'm going to paint the frame literally, I think Monday when I come back from MotoGP. So I'm going to go away do that. And then my engine I've just given it to the mechanic at the racing, my team mechanic. So because he loves 2-strokes, he's just 2-stroke everything. So I've gave him my engine. I said tune it as much as you want. So that should come back in about 2-3 weeks time. Put that back in, and then we should be ready to go.
So from 28, so you gave it to him at 28 cc's. When it comes back, it's going to have 128 cc's or what? Disguised as the 50cc bike.
Yeah. So literally, I spend so much money on that thing. Like the exhaust is about £300, proper welded, and The ignition
Yep.
kit was about £250,
That's
and
killer.
just
Yeah.
when I do something, I have to do it right. I
For
can't just
sure.
do the
Attaboy.
job.
Do it right the
I'm
first time.
getting rid of it in October, November, but in that meantime, I want that bike to be it's custom. That bike is how I want it to be, and then obviously when I turn 17, I'll do my other license, get my 125cc. But my mum doesn't really like it that much. It's either racing or a road motorbike. But she lets us, me and my brother, when we were 16. So obviously a bit of transport, bit of freedom. You can have a bike, but then they weren't allowed a bike when they turned 17 because they were racing. But
Yeah.
I asked her a bit nicely, and see, I'm allowed to get one at the end of the year, because when I come away from a race weekend and you get back on that bike, you learn to just enjoy riding it and just enjoy
Yeah.
just going places. It's from going 110% on the track every time I have to go out to an end,
Right.
just cruising on the road. I've never really been stupid on
Different.
the road. I like to just take my time and just chill.
Right.
Yeah. When you get your 125, let's pretend that you could only do one thing to it. What would you do?
Oh, I don't know. I'd probably do a custom paint job, but I'd get my dad to do a custom
Okay.
paint.
All right.
Your dad's a good
Mechanically,
painter?
what would you do mechanically?
Mechanically, I'd probably take the engine out and give it to my team mechanic again and get him to tune it. That's what I'd probably do.
Dial it in,
Nice.
man, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Serge mentioned your dad. He's a painter, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your dad and the audience? Because your dad is insanely talented. He does some incredible stuff.
Yeah. So my he's been painting since he was about 10 or 11 years old. Just started on the model planes, the RC planes,
Nice.
and then started doing his own bikes and cars. He showed me pictures the other day. He'd buy a bike, and then less than 3 hours later, it's a different color, and then a day later, different color. But he's done some amazing paint jobs, and over the years for Guy Martin, Michael Dunlop.
Wow.
It's just
Nice.
such an incredibly. I'll grab my helmet now.
Yeah, let's
Yes,
check it out.
I tried designing it myself, but it didn't work. So it's a little bit dirty just because it's come from the race weekend, so the visor's still dirty.
Yeah,
But
it's
I just
beautiful.
gave him the colours, and I said, do what you want. And then less than about half an hour later, he comes back with this. So I was like, perfect.
That's cool.
That is so cool. The gradient work is
Yeah,
phenomenal.
it's amazing, man.
But I'm quite lucky like that. If he does everything for me, and
Yeah.
So
Hey, well, what is your current number?
24.
24. Okay.
So I've got these two. So that's for obviously Shane Richardson that passed away. at
Oh,
Oldham
okay.
Park,
That's why I asked. I saw that number.
And then Owen Jenner as well that passed away in an accident. So just got their stickers on there.
That's cool,
then-
man.
Hey, Ryan,
Yeah, so
I wanted to ask you a question about numbers. I've always been curious about that I have no knowledge of. Now, you chose number 24. How do you get to stick with that number? Like, what I'm saying is how does each racer, does the number one seed get the number one number?
I think you can choose. So say I finished third in the championship last year, I automatically get that pick to have number 3, but I've always had number 24. So that's straight away my pick, because the number came along because obviously with track days and everything in England, you used to get a number given to you. You used to be that number for the track day, and my dad would always somehow get number 24, and then my middle brother had it, and then I started racing and everything had 24 on it. So always stuck with that. So just carried on from where my dad left it, basically.
That's cool. Hey, what if when you finish number one with 1, are you going to take 1?
I don't know. People like to say there's a bit of a curse when you put the number 1 on your bike.
Agree.
So I'd probably stay out of it. When I won my previous championships, we put the number 1 on to come in, and then once I've come in the next season, 24.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
24 one day is going to represent 1 anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Hopefully, without
It will.
all of it.
It will. With that dedication you got, man, and you got a good soul, young man. So just wanted to say, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts taking the time to chat with us. You have 2 humongous fans here in the state of Florida, and I'm sure the listeners here in the States guys, check this guy out, man. He's check out all his social media pages. Just an inspiration for what somebody 16 should be doing instead of sitting in somebody's couch while playing video games, eating potato chips all day. So this is a awesome situation, man. So we love you, man. We're gonna follow your journey, and after the season, we'll have you back on, kind of talk about the full season, how you did, and things like that. If that's cool with you.
100%. That I'm so grateful for this opportunity. It's been great talking to you too, and thank you for having me on.
Awesome, buddy.
Absolutely. You are a young man who is impossible not to root for.
No doubt.
So go, man, and get your brothers. I'm curious how that competitive side will play out as you guys get older.
They always say they're faster than me, but we all know the truth. So
The young ones are always the cocky ones. Hey, behind you, who's that picture of?
Valentino Rossi. So he's a great person to look up to. So Valentino Rossi, Barry Sheen, they've been the guys I looked up to when I was younger. I think just their way of racing, it's just you get on and do it, and the results prove when you're there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that we've been doing this show now going on a year and a half, and anybody that we've had from the UK side of the world, or actually just in Europe in general, not just UK, but Europe in general, we've always asked this question, like, who would you like to have dinner with, that type of stuff, who's somebody you looked up to. I would say 99.9% of the people will say Rossi.
Yep.
Yeah.
No matter what their age is, either young guys like yourself to old geezers like me in their 50s. So I mean, it just everybody loves that guy for what he stands for and the type of character guy he is too.
When you talk about racing, the one person that always pops up is Rossi at the end of the day. He's done so many things for this sport, and he's always, all the great seasons that have happened in MotoGP, he's there. So without Rossi, I think the sport would be very different, 100%. Obviously, you have the greats like Marquez, Lorenzo, Pedrosa, but I think without Rossi, I think maybe less people would be into it, just because of the way the fans he brought in and the attitude he had. I think he kind of just drawed people in, and
Right.
you get stuck.
Yeah.
Yep.
My great mate, obviously Joshua Raymond from the States. He's my teammate this year. Great kid, to be honest. He should be really good this year. He's been looking strong in the winter test. He got a bit unfortunate at Donington, just having a few issues. Obviously crashing out in the last race, but I think was it the last race or first race anyway. He's a really good kid. He's another strong talent as well, and he'll be good for America.
Right. That's cool. Where's he from? In the US, do you know?
Honestly, I don't want to say the wrong place, so I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
Good man.
Gotcha. So he's living there.
Cool.
He's training with you guys, right? With the team, everything like that. So
He stayed there obviously from last weekend to this weekend. So he'll say him and his dad are so dedicated. So his dad bought him a caravan, so they'll stay over here in between the close rounds like now. And then when this weekend's done, he'll fly back to the States and then fly back over again the round after. But them two is him and his family are great people. So
that's awesome. Well, Rhino, thanks, my man. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you for telling us your amazing young journey. There's still so many pages left in that book of yours to finish, and we are stoked to be able to follow that journey into year after year, checking out how you're doing and making sure that you stay healthy. Keep dreaming, and keep kicking ass out there.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. It was great to talk to you guys, and hopefully talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.
Definitely, Ryan. We knew him win.
That's
Be good, brother.
Thank you.
See ya.